show you every resource that you have on the website. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview and get you an understanding of our calendar, kind of how that operates and how you can get signed up for a bunch of different trainings if that interests you, and just give you points of contact too. So that's kind of the gist of orientation, kind of give you an idea of what's going on in this office specifically. And then if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. But I will forewarn, if I don't know if anyone's online yet, but a lot of times when I do this, it can kind of seem a little bit like word vomit because it's just a lot of information. And I don't mean to do that to anybody because I know you guys already feel like there's a lot going on. So in that situation, I always just tell you guys, you know what, like go home or stay in the office, whatever works, digest the information and then email me if you're like, okay, that didn't make any sense, but I didn't realize it until now. So you're welcome to do that too. Oh my gosh. But yes, you actually, that's why I was like, oh, maybe that's Tanya because I just onboarded her yesterday and she's also like, looks very similar. So I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't expect you to be here today just because it was like so short notice, but no, that's wonderful. It's good to see you. No, you did not. I felt bad because I was like, sometimes when I onboard an agent, if like orientation is the next day, I feel like it's short notice of me to tell them. So yeah, you are perfectly fine. I'm excited that you're here. So you saw earlier, Sue was in here. Sue is our director of first impressions. She's up at the front desk. And so Sue is going to pop in around 10:15 today, and she's going to run over a little bit of information about call time. If you ever want to do anything like call time, which is an opportunity, and she'll kind of dive more into it, but basically you could be up at the front desk with Sue. You could be answering phones, and that can help you in short, just to get an opportunity for leads as well. So she's going to talk to you a little bit about that. And at the very end, we should have a special guest. Carla Campbell will jump on. She's with Heritage Title, and she's just going to give you a little bit of information about title insurance. In which case, I also have folders in my office, and when she's kind of going over hers, I'll run back to my office and give you some of the resources that she provides. But she only comes to half of the orientations that we do, so she does the second of the 2 every month. So she will be on later. But again, it can be like a lot of information, and I know that, and that's why, like I tell you guys, if you have any questions, please reach out. And that's why the folder is going to be really great because it's going to have her contact information as well as like a little bit more like breakdown of what she was talking about. So, and that's the thing is I understand that sometimes it is a lot to digest, and I wouldn't blame everyone for like deer in headlights, like what is going on. So, yes, so I will make sure that you are thoroughly prepared. You have all the contact information. So if you do come across any questions, you can definitely ask them, but you're welcome to, if any come to mind while we're going through everything, you're welcome to ask them as well. It looks like so far it's just you and me, which is awesome. I love when it's like this because I can kind of like talk to you more. It's a little bit more like direct. I'm sure we'll have a few that jump on in just a little bit. Sometimes we've got a couple that run a couple minutes late, in which case I always tell them like, you know, if you miss anything, let me know and I'll kind of go back to it, but we'll go ahead and just get started. So really quickly, this is going to be our office website. It's called kwbresources.com. This is going to be one of my favorite tools to use, but maybe I'm biased because I kind of do stuff on here, but KWB Resources is going to be specific to this market center. So it's a really great tool for you to use, just to kind of have an overview of what's going on in Ballantyne specifically, rather than Keller Williams as a whole. So really quickly, I'm just going to show you this new agent tab, which might be helpful, especially because you're starting to really jump into things. So under the new agent tab, we're going to go onto this left-hand side here where it says learn more, and it's going to give us a little checklist here that's kind of nice to look at. The checklist is kind of breaking down the onboarding process, which you've definitely completed at this point. But it just kind of shows you what's going to be asked of you, when you can be expecting it, and you know who's going to be reaching out to you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. Hey, Elizabeth. Yeah. So usually they let you register 1 or 2 vehicles. So what I would say is we'll click on the link here at the bottom. I'm wondering if maybe if you just go back through here, or there might be a contact at the bottom. So yeah, so info@preferredparking.com. So you could reach out to them through this contact information there, and then they might be able to assist you in like correcting what cars are registered versus which aren't. So hopefully that'll be helpful. Yes, it's strictly just for the parking lot. And we always tell everybody that when it comes to the parking lot, if you're planning on being here once or twice a month, you really don't need to worry about it. There are visitor spots available, but if you plan on being here every single day, we usually just recommend that you have it just in case. Which, I mean, the more you guys are in the office, the better. We love when you guys are in the office. But up to you on how you want to handle that. I will say I've never seen somebody towed, but I also don't want you to quote me on that if that ever happens, because then I'm going to feel bad. So you should be, like I said, once or twice a month, you should be absolutely fine. They kind of do go around and like check, but I'm pretty sure unless they saw you like a repeated offender type thing, I don't think they're going to do anything about it. So you should be totally fine. But so really quickly, since we got a couple people who just jumped in, we were under, so I'm going to go, KWB Resources is our website for the office, and it's going to kind of break down everything Valentine specific rather than Keller Williams as a whole. So if you guys want, this can be your best friend, just like it's mine. So really quickly, right there, I'll just highlight it for you, kwbresources.com. On this homepage here, if we go to the new agent tab, that's where we just were, and we clicked on this learn more on the left-hand side, and it brought up this checklist. The checklist just kind of breaks down onboarding as a whole, shows you what to expect, who to expect it from, when to expect it, all the things. And most of you are pretty thoroughly through the onboarding process at this point. So you guys should have a good idea of, okay, this has already happened, it's no longer relevant to me, and that's okay. But I do want to show it to you if anyone's in the middle of it, because I know that orientation being such an early class for you guys can be anywhere in that onboarding process. But at the very bottom here, there are things that you can do immediately, which I do like to touch on because that can be relevant no matter where you are in your onboarding process. One is just check out the KWB Resources website, kind of familiarize yourself with it because there are a lot of tools and resources on there. The other is to check the office calendar for the website, which I will show you guys in a little bit. That's going to show you the breakdown of all the amazing trainings that we offer and all the fun social events that we do as well. And then there's links usually right there for you to get registered right away. The next thing is joining Ignite, which will be kicking off on May 2nd. So everyone who's interested in Ignite, which I highly recommend because it is a really great foundational class base for you guys. And it's taught by our top 20% agents here. So they're here to share some of their journey and experience literally here in Valentine and how that's shaped their career and how they've become successful through it. So they're going to give you the basics. And it's really great to be a part of Ignite. You also get to bond with a lot of the other newer agents and get to have some friendly faces in the office. So definitely consider joining Ignite with us on May 2nd. We're super excited to have it again. There has been an Ignite email, that goes out to you guys during your onboarding process. Erica, I'll send you another one about Ignite if you want to be part of it. The great thing about Ignite is it is in person, but we do also offer the hybrid experience. So if you ever are like, you know what, today I'm really sick or today I've got the kiddos, you're welcome to watch it from at home. The other really great thing is I do like to be a little flexible with you guys because I understand life happens. So if there's ever a time that you guys can't make it to class, you can always shoot me an email. We usually have the sessions recorded at the end. So by the end of the day, I can usually share that with you. Hopefully, please don't use that the entire 9 sessions just because it does take a good amount of time to download them and upload them to an email. But I'm willing to do it for you guys if it's just like 1 or 2 times. The next thing is attending office meetings, which one of them is KWB Orientation. So good job, guys. You're like a quarter of the way done. And then the last thing on here is registering your car with Torrington parking, which is what we were just discussing. If you click on this link here, it'll navigate you to Torrington parking. Like I said, if you plan on being here more than a few times a month, I do usually recommend that you just go ahead and register your car. They may not even give you a physical pass to hang in your car because I think there are like a finite amount of the passes at this point, and we do have a lot of agents here. So if that's the case, they at least will know, okay, this car is good. They'll have it in their system. So maybe you don't have the pass to hang, but they are aware that you will be here every day. And there's no harm. It's free to you to do. If they do have a physical pass available for you to pick up, it will be placed in your mail folder, which is actually, if you go to the front desk, the main lobby area, just to the right, there is a small little room. It's got a purple wall similar to this. And it will have a series of filing cabinets in there. Each filing cabinet is broken down alphabetically by last name, and you can go in there. There's a manila folder in there with your name on it. So any mail that you ever have that's sent to the office will just be in that folder. So that way we can kind of keep track of everything for you. And if you're not here for 2 weeks because you're going on vacation, you can still come back and all your mail will be there for you. So really simple. The only thing that I think is worth mentioning if you guys are going to be registering your car is that this is building 2, not building 1, but it is called Torrington 2. So I'm pretty sure everyone's aware of that. I'm going to close out here though real quick. All righty. So the next thing that I do like to show on this right-hand side, we're still under that new agent tab, basic training. Scott Leroy Marketing, this is going to navigate you to their page. They are a third-party marketing consultant that we use, and they did help you guys with all of your login information and getting you set up with Keller Cloud. So you guys should have already received a PDF from them kind of breaking down all your login, which is great. And that's going to be kind of your best friend as long as you haven't memorized them at least. But Scott Leroy Marketing does have a lot of amazing stuff on there beyond just helping you guys. I will say if you guys do ever have any tech issues, they are highly responsive, so you can quickly email them. But something worth noting, I like to point out at least, is under agent resources and under training. If you click this training calendar, it is going to ask you for your market center number, and ours is 350. And you'll kind of see that number pop up a lot here in a minute, but 350 is our market center number. But underneath here, it shows you a complete calendar Monday through Friday. There's a class every single day that you guys are welcome to jump on. It is going to be virtual, obviously, but you're welcome to be a part of that class. And they do just kind of go over the basics of tech setup. So they explain marketing, marketing with KW. They explain command every single Tuesday. They do building your brand, listings, and landing pages. There's just a lot of very helpful information on these. So if you guys are ever looking for something specific, and maybe we haven't had a class on it in the office in a little bit, you're welcome to navigate to this page and utilize it as much as you'd like, just because they do have a lot of great information on there. And another thing is business cards. As Keller Williams, unfortunately, we do not provide them for you, but the really nice thing is Scott Leroy does offer amazing deals on business cards. So I always like to show you guys the store here as well. If you were to click on business cards, it'll take you to this nice little page here. This is the agent store. You can select business cards here. They have some pre-done templates for Keller Williams, so it's really as simple as just dropping your information in the blanks. You can also go as far as to customizing the finish. You can also customize the corners and make them scalloped. It's entirely up to you. But there are several different templates available for you guys to kind of give it a personalized feel. You can add your photo, you can leave it without, but they do offer really great prices. I actually ordered mine there not that long ago, and I was able to get $500 for $39. So it's really good pricing. You're welcome to still try and do like Vistaprint as a route if you're really interested in that. I would just run it by Tasha Viney, who's currently filling in for our BIC, and I can give her information out in a little bit. But I would just check with the BIC, just make sure everything looks good, just because we don't want it to be any issue. But these are all pre-done and they're already approved. So as long as you just drop your information in for a really great price, I don't see why you wouldn't, but I'm going to give you guys the option. I'm going to go ahead and close out of here real quick, because those are the two things I like to touch on. There is plenty more on that website, so you're welcome to go there whenever you'd like. But a little bit further under this new agent page, these are going to be the breakdown of our Facebook pages that we have that are phenomenal. The first being one that I've already actually shared with most of you. There's an email that you probably got from me at one point with balloons on it. Elizabeth, you have not yet, but I think you're already on the page. I could be wrong. I was like, I'm pretty sure you're already on there. Yeah, I was going to say. So if you click on this, it will take you to our Facebook page. It's going to ask you a quick couple questions just to join the group. But once you're inside the group, it's a really great platform for you guys to communicate with the other agents of the office. It's all of our agents here along with leadership. Hello, special guest Teresa. Yeah. Yay. I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. I'll forgive you just because it's you. We were talking about the Facebook pages. Yeah, so our dominant Facebook page here, like I mentioned, it's a platform for you to communicate with other agents and for you to communicate with leadership. A lot of things are posted there. A lot of times it'll be me sharing the trainings that we've got coming up, because there are so many that we like to offer, and we want you guys to know about them and get involved if they're interesting to you. The other thing that we offer is, again, with the communication between agents, you guys can ask for, does anybody have a listing coming up in this area with this many bedrooms? You guys can easily communicate with each other. We've had agents who are looking for a referral agent. Does anyone know somebody in Florida that I can talk to that they've used before? So it's a really good platform for you guys to get in touch with people right at the touch of a button, which I always prefer to suggest to you guys as a really good resource. A lot of times we have our agents communicating there all day long. So really good offer. We've also had people who will drop. I actually just saw this morning, somebody asked if there was a new agent, no experience needed, but would they be willing to co-host an open house? So lots of opportunities for you guys too as new agents to get connected and get the ball rolling. So that's super exciting. Underneath here, and this is the only other one I'm really going to touch on just to keep it quick and moving. We do have our strategic alliance partners. This is an entire Facebook page that our vendors are a part of. So you guys as agents are welcome to be a part of that Facebook page as well. But all of our vendors in our preferred program are on top of, I'm gonna move that real quick. But all of our vendors in our program here are all on this Facebook group. These are vendors who we've used, or agents here have used for years. They've got great reviews. They've got great pricing. They're just really great people all the way around. They do awesome work. So we like to keep in touch with them and we like to kind of keep good connections with them. So we have them all on a Facebook page. So if anybody is ever interested or looking for a vendor, I know they usually say to try and come up with 3 quotes from different people. So please do use that and find out whoever you'd like. We do, because it's Facebook, there's a nice search feature on there. So you could search by their services. You could search electrician, you could search plumber, and anyone that we have on there will usually come up, or anyone that may have been suggested in the past will also come up, which is phenomenal. And it's an easy way for you guys to get in touch with somebody that your clients are going to love, and it's just going to help you guys out. And the other really great thing is because they're all parts of this Facebook group, a lot of times they'll drop little deals that they're running in there as well. So just like little things that you guys can keep tabs on as well as you're kind of getting into production. So something I do like to share with you guys that you can consider joining as well. Right here, and I won't necessarily break it all the way down for you like I normally do, just because I can kind of summarize it for you. If you click this colorisms button, it is going to navigate you to a little like Word document as well. And it's just going to break down all the terms specific to Keller Williams that you may have heard. And you're like, that's not a term in the real world, I swear. So, and that's okay, because we know that. So if you were ever wondering, okay, what is a team leader? Teresa, for example, is our team leader. So if you're like, what's a team leader? What is the equivalent of that in normal people terms? It'll break down what she does. It'll kind of give you an idea of what her role is similar to. Same with everyone else on leadership, but it also breaks down cap, managed cap, things like that, that you're also going to hear that relate to your money. And you're like, okay, now I really want to know what I'm talking about. So feel free to navigate to this page if you ever have a question. And if you're like me, sometimes I'm a little too shy to ask. So you're welcome to use that, but don't ever feel like you can't ask somebody. We're always happy to answer the questions. But feel free to click on that and kind of look at those over if you're ever interested. On this little section here, we've got answers.kw.com. So Command is our CRM here. It is built for KW and by KW, which means that as amazing as it is, sometimes there are some little hanky issues here and there. I'm sure you've noticed a few here and there. But so in those situations, because they are always trying to constantly improve what they've got, there is a website, answers.kw.com here. It is completely developed around the concept of frequently asked questions. So this entire website is frequently asked questions about Command. So if you guys have any questions and you're like, there's no way I'm the only one who's had this question and I couldn't get a hold of so-and-so, let me just see if it's on there. That's a really great spot for you guys to check, because there are a lot of common questions on there that have been explained in depth for you that can kind of give you an idea of how to navigate through Command. Similar, there's a sister website that is called ideas.kw.com, and that's an entire website for you guys to drop suggestions of how to improve Command. So it's all looking for feedback, which is great. And they do like to hear from everybody and anybody, just because that helps them to be better, especially if the transition as a new agent and getting familiar with Command is really seamless. So they do want to hear from you guys. So if there's ever something you're like, okay, this definitely could be better, feel free to navigate to the ideas.kw.com and just share your thoughts. A little bit further down, this is an opportunity for you guys to download Ignite materials, although I will say that on the office training calendar, you can access them as well. Usually when you try to access them, it will ask that you get approval from me. So I get an email shot over, and I usually, if I'm not in the office, unfortunately, I cannot get it to work on my phone for some reason. So sometimes it does take me till the next morning, but I will get you the materials. And then just a little bit further down, this is a way to navigate to our training calendar. There are several different ways, and you'll notice that throughout the website. There's a lot of different ways to pull to the same content. So there's a much easier way to do it rather than scrolling all the way through here. So I will show you that in a little bit. And at the very bottom here, it's how to book a conference room. So we do have several conference rooms on this floor. If you did not already know, there's about 7 or so of them, and each have a different capacity that they hold, some ranging from like 4 to I think 10 is our Susan B. George room. So anytime that you guys are ever using or looking to use a conference room, we just ask that you schedule it on our little spreadsheet here. And that will allow to make sure that one, nobody else is planning to use that room, but also to give you an idea of when you can squeeze in and what room would be the best for you based off of capacity or timing, anything like that. Because we do offer several, like I said, several different conference rooms with different capacities, and that whole sheet just shows you all that information and more. And it will show you time blocking on there. So if somebody has reserved the room for several hours, it'll show you that they're there for this amount of time. Maybe you want to consider a different room, or maybe fluctuate when you're willing to be in there. So it gives you an idea of that. We do ask that you guys try to stick to like 3 hours or less just for the conference room so that we can keep them on rotation for everybody. But other than that, that's kind of the bulk of understanding the conference rooms. Sometimes you might have difficulty at first. I do have to go in and add everyone's email in there specifically so that they can book conference rooms. So if you ever have an issue with that, feel free to shoot me an email and say, hey, I tried to book a conference room and for some reason it's being funny, because I am an admin on that page, so I can go in and try and tweak things to get you guys access. So that is all under that new agent tab. So I'm just going to go back to our homepage real quick, and just to show you guys again, the new agent tab, to get to it is as simple as clicking this button here. But I'm going to scroll down just a little bit further. These are all our wonderful people on our leadership team. They are all ladies right now, actually. But so this is all of our amazing leadership team. I also apologize for this. For some reason, Wix.com, when I'm editing it, it depends on monitor size. So my monitor back there looks perfect, looks amazing. But for whatever reason, every time I'm on this computer, it looks like it's over there. So I promise it doesn't look like that all the time. But so these are all of the wonderful people we've got on leadership, along with their emails as well and what they do. So if you guys are ever looking for a quick way to contact somebody, but maybe you don't have their email automatically popping up when you try and use their name, feel free to go to the Facebook page, because it's going to be right there for you. Or you can always shoot me an email. Underneath here at the Can't Miss Video of the Week, Julia Designs. They are our newest to join leadership. They are our I want to figure out like a good way to say it. They assist with technology for us, Command, DocuSign, things like that. They actually both have backgrounds from being in Scott Leroy, so they're really great resources for you guys to communicate with. But they also do their own marketing and concierge services for agents. So that's something else that you guys can look into as well as you guys get into production, because they do offer a lot of phenomenal services. But every single week they do actually post a little bit. I think they actually call it What the Tech, which is really funny. But they will post a little bit like of a quick tutorial just on how to do something with Command or DocuSign. They can be really helpful. So feel free to use those. They also will drop them on the Facebook page. So if you guys are a member of the Facebook page, you can see them there. If you keep scrolling, you will get to our office training calendar. Although again, there is a quick way to pull there, and I'll show you that towards a little bit further in. But this is our office training calendar. It is set for months out. Actually, sometimes things will be added, but you can see pretty far out, but it's always set to the month that we're currently in. And it just shows you everything that we've got going on in the Market Center. So today, for example, we've got orientation. If you were to click on orientation, it gives you the little breakdown here. It gives you a registration link, all that good stuff and more. But you can also click +3 more, because there is other stuff going on today. And you can see that we've got a Leverage Your Way to Freedom class with Brindley Tucker later. Very exciting. It is 12 to 5. If anyone would like to come to it, you're welcome to. We do have some space available in that class. Obviously, it is a bit of a time commitment, so you don't have to. But there is, like I said, there's a registration link right there. It breaks down a little bit of information. You can even scroll. Sometimes there's attachments as well with flyers and things like that, so you can have a better understanding of what all is going to be available to you and what's going on. But this is a really great tool for you guys, like I said, to know what's going on in the Market Center and to get involved in things that are happening. We've got our social events that are planned on there. We've got our trainings and all that good stuff. So please do use this. This is what I always tell people is like my best friend, because I work on the calendar all day long. So there's almost always going to be registration links and description right there for you. If there's ever not, or you're looking for one, feel free to shoot me an email, because I can usually get a hold of that and send it to you if it's not up there. And then I'll go back and correct why it's not up there. But this is definitely going to be your best friend, I would say. A little bit lower down, we've got upcoming events here, just things that are recurring meetings within the Market Center. We have an ALC meeting that happens on the third Tuesday of every month. And I'll kind of get into who the ALC is and what that means a little bit later. We also have team meetings here that are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 11 from 11 to noon. Those are great opportunities for you guys to come in and get connected with a lot of the agents here. And we do break down what's going on in the Market Center, what's going on with the market. Like, we kind of cover everything, which is really great. Super informative, super fun, and high energy, which is just really nice to have sometimes on a Tuesday. And then we also have fixed form classes, and those are going to be really important to you guys, I would say, as a new agent, because those are going to be taught by, right now they're being taught by our T group partners. Typically speaking, they are done by Sabra herself, which is our BIC, and they're just really phenomenal opportunities for you guys to familiarize yourselves with some of the forms you'll be using for the different transactions. So we do 4 of them in a given month. The first one is North Carolina listing. So that entire 2 hours is dedicated to the forms that are involved with those transactions. We've got North Carolina buyer, South Carolina listing, and South Carolina buyer in that order. And it'll show you that on the calendar as well. But all of those are great for you guys. If you're thinking about getting your South Carolina license, you don't have it yet, you're welcome to jump on those calls still. But I think all of us here are North Carolina licensed. So you guys are welcome to be part of the North Carolina ones. And it's just another opportunity for you to get a little bit more familiarity and comfort with those transactions. Going a little bit further, this is Sabra, our wonderful BIC. She's amazing, and we're hoping that she's going to come back soon. She has been out due to illness. She's doing just fine now, but we're just waiting for her to rest and recover a little bit more, and hopefully she'll be returning. These here are our ALC members. These are some of the agents in our top 20%. They've gone through interview process and all that great stuff to represent different committees here at Valentine. So they will represent different committees. We've got the finance committee, we've got the social committee, we've got culture, we've got all that good stuff. So do check out the ALC. They all do actually have committee meetings once a month that are open to any agents to join. So if you guys have any interest in either joining the committee or you just want to share some thoughts and communicate with these individuals, you're welcome to join their meetings. Again, those are all on the calendar. They're usually the first Tuesday or Wednesday of the month. But these are all, again, really great points of contact for you, really great people to know in the office, just because they do have flourishing businesses and they've been in this industry for long enough to be able to give you some pointers. And they also just have a good idea of what's going on here at Valentine as well. So just, again, really great people. They're all super friendly and always happy to answer a question for you. So feel free to check them out. They also have points of contact here. If you guys are interested in joining their committee or sharing some thoughts, then they would be happy to hear them. Down below, we've got some of our productivity coaches. So those of us in coaching, these are the wonderful coaches in our program. Brandy Williams is our productivity coaching head. So she's actually going to be the one who helps to assign and facilitate the coaching here. So feel free, if you have not heard from her, you have any interest in joining coaching but are not yet involved in it, feel free to shoot Brandy a quick email. I don't know, it usually is listed here, so I apologize for that. I know it is listed above, but it's just brandywilliams@kw.com. So feel free to get connected with Brandy. She'd be happy to get you guys in touch with our amazing coaches, because those coaches are really going to be here to help hold you accountable and just to kind of give you that nudge in the right direction sometimes. So please do feel free to check out the coaching program with Brandy. Down a little bit further, these are our T group partners. So if you've been assigned a T group partner already, which I believe everyone in this room has, Elizabeth, maybe not just yet, I was going to say, but I don't know if Charlene's going to take over on that one. So, but that's okay. We'll play it by ear on that one. But everybody else should have a T group partner at this point. So your T group partner, like I said, they're running the forms classes right now, but this is a transaction partner. Again, one of the really great agents that we've got here that have been doing this for a little bit of time and have some comfort and traction when doing the forms. So these individuals are all here to help you. You've been assigned a transaction partner as part of your onboarding process. Each of them will meet once a week and they do their own meetings. And again, they'll just talk about forms with you guys and kind of give you a little bit familiarity, answer questions about transactions you guys are looking to do or transactions maybe you're in the middle of. So please do reach out to them. They're a wonderful resource for you guys when you have questions about things like that. They are here to help kind of guide you in the right direction and give you just the guidance that you need. So each of you, like I said, has been assigned one. If ever, though, you are having trouble reaching out to your T group partner, these are all great people and they're always happy to answer. So you could easily shoot Rob Gilly an email if maybe Tasha hasn't gotten back to you just yet. So you have that opportunity as well. So please do feel free. If you click the contact button, it will try and I think navigate you sometimes to Outlook if you have a PC, but it will basically connect you to their email right away. So again, great people. They've all got a meeting once a week, and they are also all on the office calendar with the Zoom link to jump on their meetings. So underneath here, we have our first step partners. So these are all of our lovely first step partners. Again, this is another program, the T group program being the other, designed by Sabra for the agents of Valentine. Our first step partners are here to help you guys as new agents. So especially during that first little transition, it can be a little tricky and a little bit like you're not quite sure what to do next. So they're here to help you. Each of them should have sent you, and if they have not yet, please feel free to reach out to them. But they should have sent you a 30, 60, 90 checklist. The 30, 60, 90 checklist, Lorenzo, thank you for like nodding. I was like, all right, you've got one, good. So the 30, 60, 90 checklist just kind of gives you an idea of loosely things that you can be working on in the first 3 months that you're here. So you don't have to follow it to a T, cross all the T's, dot the I's. You don't have to do that, but it does give you an idea of things that you can be working on to get in production quicker and just to have a better sense of what's going on. So do feel free, like you can use that to kind of give you, okay, check how you're doing and things like that. And they'll kind of reach out to you intermittently just to see how you're doing on the checklist and if you have any questions. But again, these are just really great people for you guys to talk to and see, hey, how can, like, do you happen to know the answer to this question, or who can I talk to about this? They're also going to be able to help with some guidance there. A little bit further, these are just another way to pull to some of these really helpful resources like the new associate page, Command, and then Canopy and all that good stuff. So really quickly, I'm going to navigate us over to frequently asked questions. Quickly just touch on that for you. So our frequently asked questions page, here we go. If you guys ever have a question and you're not sure who to talk to, this kind of gives you an overview sense of who you can reach out to. So if you have a question about a contract, you can reach out to Sabra. Like I said, Sabra is out. So Tasha Vine is the point of contact right now. She is in the C group partners that we just looked over. So her point of contact is there, but if you guys ever need it, feel free to shoot me an email and I can get that to you real quick. But if you have a question about compliance, you can reach out to Carla Kettler, and it just shows you their emails right there. So you know who you can reach out to on leadership right away. If you have a question near or like similar to these, you're welcome to reach out to that person as well. And if you really ever don't know and you're like, oh my gosh, who do I talk to? Please do shoot me an email, because if I don't have the answer myself, I will get you connected with who does. I will either get the answer myself and save you the trip, or I will get you guys connected. So please feel free to email me in those situations. The next little section I was going to show you is called on-demand training, and it does ask you for a password. So if you guys are ready, the password is very similar to our Wi-Fi password. It's capital B, lowercase a, m, c, and then the number 350. So it's not too crazy. It's literally the Wi-Fi password minus the exclamation point. So it's not too hard. On the left-hand side here, if you click on-demand training, it is going to take you to our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel here is built up. We've got playlists dating back. We actually just started this YouTube channel, so it goes back to 2022 of January. And the reason I do that instead of backlogging it with all the recordings we have is just because after a little bit, things change on forums and the relevancy is not quite there. So I try to keep it as updated as I can. But basically, anytime we've got a recording from compliance orientation, from this orientation, team meetings, Tech Tuesdays with Julia Designs, or forums classes, any of those, I will take that recording down, I'll re-upload it. So if you guys ever can't make it to a class, or hey, I have a question about this, maybe it's answered in the forums class, I just missed it, you're welcome to go onto this page and use those playlists. Please do. I'm going to quickly close out of that, but there is all that information and more on there. And on the right hand side here, if you click Command on Demand, it might make a really loud sound because there's a YouTube video that tries to play sometimes, so I'm so sorry. There it is. There it is. I'm going to pause it now. Okay. So this is going to take you to Scholar Roy's YouTube channel. So they have all these videos and more ranging on command tips. We've got what's new with Scholar Roy. We've got DocuSign information. So these videos range from anywhere from a couple minutes to like 45 minutes to an hour. So there's a lot of great content on here. If you guys do have questions about how to navigate different things, you're welcome to look at these as you're going through a process, or you can, if you do learn really well from tutorials, you can go ahead and start watching these now and have a really good idea of what's going on later. I know that some people do prefer live classes. Maybe tutorials isn't your learning style, and we understand that. So Julia Designs does do Tech Tuesdays as well. So every Tuesday from 1 to 3, they're in here teaching a class, which you can do Zoom or you can be in person for. And they'll teach a class on command. They'll teach a class on DocuSign. So they kind of rotate through their subject matter as well. So feel free to look at those on the office calendar, and that's going to be how you guys can get signed up and just get in here. But these are more kind of on demand. If you guys have a question and it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. So how can I get those questions answered? Feel free to check out this YouTube channel. And underneath here, just a little bit of a blurb about Ignite. So, and which is all kind of shared with you in that Ignite email that you will be receiving. Under Office Resources, it's going to ask for a password, and that password's the same as from the previous page. Yep, capital B, lowercase a, m, c, and then 350. And that's it. All right. And then so under the office resources, this is going to be somewhere that you guys can check. And I recommend it a lot when you guys are first starting out with transactions. On the left-hand side here, under get forms, Sabra uploaded an entire Google Drive of forms. So if you guys are ever looking for a specific form, the left-hand side is going to be our North Carolina. That's where my brain's at. North Carolina forms. The far right is going to be the South Carolina forms, and you'll kind of see that. But these are going to be all the great forms that you guys can use. Not everything is on here. So if you ever can't find something on here, feel free to shoot Carla an email because Carla will be able to usually tell you where you can find a form, or you can shoot your T group partner an email and they'll be able to tell you as well. So either or is fine. But these are going to be where you guys can kind of use as a first stopping point just to find out. We do have like the septic and sewer on here. We have addendums on here. We have firm exclusive agreements. So feel free to pull these forms down and use them. I'm just going to exit out real quick, but those are going to be lots of North Carolina forms that are going to be helpful for different transactions. In this center part here under office checklist, Sabra has actually made checklists for you guys herself. They kind of walk you through some of the transactions, and I'll click on, we'll do North Carolina buyer. So it's just an overview of what's going to be happening. Again, kind of breaking down who, what, when, where kind of concept. So what are you going to need? When's it going to be needed? And just kind of give you like a whole rundown and quick like little checklist. It's super helpful, especially when you're doing that first couple transactions. You don't have the flow of it quite yet, or it's not as seamless as you want it to be. So do feel free to check these checklists. We've had agents who print them off sometimes. So please do that as well. And like I always tell people, maybe don't let your client see the checklist, but it is super helpful. And you guys are welcome to use them at any point, just because it will keep you guys kind of a running tab of, okay, how far am I? Do I have everything I need? So please do use these. She has them for just about every transaction. There's North Carolina buyer sale. There's now North Carolina listings. We've got South Carolina's on here, closings, contracted close, all that great stuff. So I'm going to close out of that. And again, that's just going to be under the get checklist button in the middle here. But a little bit lower, we do have the CE shop as well as a quick resource for you. The CE shop, if you do not know, does pre-licensing, post-licensing, CE, and just kind of exam prep as a whole. So that's a really great spot for you guys, especially if you're considering doing a dual license and you want to have one in South Carolina as well, or maybe in Virginia. You're welcome to look at this because they do have a lot of great deals that they run. Today, they're doing 25%. They put the promo code right there so you can see the price differences and just the packages that they offer. So please do look into that. They do offer lots of different states as well. So you can use these tabs here. They do also do a free trial that I actually just learned about this the other day. They do offer a free trial, so you guys can try it. I think it's for a week. I could be mistaken, but you can do a free trial, just kind of see like what it would be like if you were to use the CE shop. What kind of questions are you looking at? Are you going to be comfortable with self-guided, things like that? Kind of test it out, and they won't ask to charge you unless you choose to continue after that. So it is a good, really nice resource to see if that's something that would be worthwhile for you or something that's going to be compatible for you. The real thing that I like to show you guys on here is under Agent Essentials. If you click on Hot Topics, it will show you a whole culmination of blogs, ebooks, podcasts, and videos, all relative to real estate. So they do have some really fun ones on here. Like this one is kind of more funny than maybe like actually informative, but it's DIY. Did I do this? So it's lots of do-it-yourself fails, which can be entertaining for you. There's home staging help, how to talk to home buyers about wildfire risk. So they have all different things between being informative to being funny and cute. And you guys are welcome to not only learn from these yourself, but I've told agents before that you are welcome to share these on your social media. And that is true. So if you guys would like, I've heard that diversifying your feed, again, I'm not an agent, but I have heard that diversifying the content on your social media pages can help to gain more traffic to it. So feel free to use any of the content here and share it on your social media, because sometimes that can be the difference between a client seeing or a future client seeing it. And so please do use this content. Like I said, if nothing else, it can be worth a little chuckle. So I'm going to close out of that real quick. But like I said, plenty of information on the CE shop alone. Valentine floor plan. I have never once used this, so I don't think you will, but it's there. So if you ever decide you need it, it's there. And then a little bit further, numbers to know. You guys are welcome to, if like panic moment, like you can shoot us an email and I can get you these numbers, but this is another spot. So under the office resources at the bottom, it'll show you like our Canopy MLS number, our firm license number. And I know that some of those will be relevant as you guys move on. So please do feel free to check that first. Again, Wi-Fi code, things like that, important numbers. It says right here, our market center number. So lots of different nice numbers in one spot to make it easy for you. But again, you can always reach out to me. Under the office calendar button, and this is why I like to show you guys that at the end, it'll pull you straight to the office calendar. So as soon as you're on the page, I just click office calendar and it takes me right to where I need to go. So that's my recommendation for you, is the quickest and easiest way to get there. The next thing under here, we've got tech resources. We've got several different things that are kind of like all really great tools. The one that I usually point out for you guys is Marty Miller for Teams. Marty Miller for Teams does a 66-day challenge for you guys with Command as new agents. So it's like every day it's a new thing for you guys to like watch a video on and learn how to do. And it's 66 days worth of content, nothing too crazy, I don't think, but it's just something that's helpful. Answers.kw.com. There's Pivot Shift Ahead, which is a phenomenal page to be a part of as well. They do lots of different motivational mornings, things like that. Another access point to Scott Leroy Marketing, Command. So under the text resources, again, you can pull to several different things that are on the page or navigate to other pages that are helpful for you guys. So do kind of check this out. I try not to like click on everything because I don't want to bog you guys down, but please do check that out at any point. Under helpful links, we also do have, again, pull to different pages or get you access to something else. We do have our prayer request form, which we do encourage you guys to use. If you guys know of anybody in the office or you yourselves are ever struggling or you would like us to know, please do let us know, because as a leadership team, if nothing else, and you can kind of specify when you fill that out who you would like to know, because we're happy to share it if you would like more prayer power, but we don't necessarily do that for you unless you ask us to. Other than that, as a leadership team, we like to know what's going on because we do care about you guys. You are family to us, and we do want to take the time to pray for you guys, but also just if there's ever anything very serious going on, we do have KW Cares as well, which is a charity organization that was built on a national level. So there is the national scale, but we also have one for just Valentine, and we use that as like emergency funds for anybody. So if you ever know somebody, maybe they haven't spoken up, but hey, they really need like a little bit of love right now, we will reach out to that person. We will do whatever we can because you guys are our family. So please feel free to use that form if ever you want a little bit of confidentiality on it, or you're welcome to even just email one of us and we're happy to take care of that too, whatever you're more comfortable with. But underneath there is a refer an agent form. So as you guys are, starting your production, you run into an agent at a different firm and you're like, oh my gosh, they were amazing. I love them. I want them to be Valentine. You guys can refer an agent. I guess we don't really use the form as much anymore. It's as simple as just shooting Teresa or Abby an email. But just to kind of get that conversation out here, if you guys do ever come across somebody and you're like, I think they would be a great fit for Valentine, or maybe you've got a friend who's in pre-licensing right now and you really want them to come to Valentine, just so you have another friendly face here, or maybe somebody that you can kind of engage with and work on transactions with, please do let us know. We're happy to reach out to them and see if we can't get them excited about Valentine, and just try and introduce them to what we offer here, because obviously we offer some pretty great stuff. So please do let us know if there's ever somebody that you work with and you really liked them, or you know somebody who's going into real estate and you want them to be a Valentine, because we'll be happy to reach out to them. Under here, again, just kind of touching on, you can schedule a conference room quicker. Strategic vendor partners, I will open up for you guys. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of phenomenal vendors here and they are all on that Facebook page. But if you go here, you can access our vendor partner spreadsheet, and it breaks them down by profession, what they do, gives you a point of contact, their email, their phone number, and all that great stuff. So it's a really, really easy way for you guys to kind of have an overview of it. If maybe you didn't join the Facebook page and you're like, oh crap, but now I need somebody to talk to, you can use the spreadsheet just fine. But we have property managers, we have plumbers, or we don't have plumbers. We need good plumbers. So sorry, we don't have plumbers. Not right now, at least. We have measuring, we've got maid services, lenders, junk removal. So lots of different people here that you guys can reach out to, get quotes from, and get your clients connected with. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that real quick. And that's updated by Rob fairly frequently as well. So feel free, it might be a little bit different the next time you go on it. So feel free to check it as much as you'd like. And then there's a couple other things like Think Like a CEO podcast, Keller Inc., Outfront Magazine. Outfront Magazine, I will say, just as a side note, is really great. They do every month they send out, I think it's, I don't know if it's an article like format wise, but they kind of break down, okay, you have a social media account, you're real estate now, maybe you don't know what to be posting. So it gives you an idea of every single day of the month, what you could be posting about. So it kind of just helps baby steps and navigate you through that. So do check out Outfront Magazine. They do a social calendar that they release, and that's giving you ideas for that as well. And the last thing here is I need tech help. If you click on this button, it will take you to Julia Design's calendar. So if you ever need tech help or you have a question about something or you want to talk about maybe the marketing services that they offer, you can click on the I need tech help button and it'll put you right on their calendar and you can schedule 30 minutes of time with help or troubleshooting. I've had several agents who've done it and they're like, that was a game changer. They just saved me. So feel free to check that out. They also do open office hours. These usually are kind of intertwined with that. So you can schedule 30 minutes. You can try and swing by if they don't have an appointment. But Tuesdays through Fridays, they've got several hours. So you can click on it and you can pick right then and there where you want to drop your appointment. But they are super friendly and always happy to answer questions. So please do feel free to ask them any of your questions. They also do have both of their emails listed under the leadership information. Ooh, I bypassed it. Right here. So if you ever just want to shoot them a quick email, maybe you don't need a full appointment, you just need a quick question answered, you're welcome to email them as well. But that's kind of the overview of the entire website that we've got here. I know that I kind of word vomited on you guys and I told Erica that was probably going to happen. So I do apologize if I did. I understand that sometimes it takes a little bit to digest the information. So if you don't have questions right now, please do feel free to email me any of them or swing by my office and ask me. But is there any questions that might be jumping out in this moment for anybody? No? Okay, that's okay. That's perfect. Yes, this is recorded. There you go. Yeah, so I will put it on the YouTube channel later. So you can click and I'll show you again. So you go under the on-demand training and you'll enter the password you wrote down and you'll just click on the left-hand side here. And then there's orientation recordings right there and it'll say like the date right next to it. So you'll know. And I can also, when I do that, I'll already have to download it off, which is totally fine. So I'll just send it to you in an email to make it even easier. But so again, and sometimes it's helpful to like when you go home to kind of like, okay, let me like actually go step by step and play with it too. And it helps. So Sue should be coming in here in just a minute or two. She's going to quickly touch on call time for you guys and just kind of explain the opportunity that call time can give you guys here as an agent. And like I said, she should be here. So pretty much, no, that's okay. That and then Carla Campbell will be here in just a little bit. She's going to talk to you guys about title insurance, but I also know that sometimes you got to run. So yeah, and that's okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I could give you new information. No, that's okay. I know you've. So she works with the Stratman team. So she's already been on as their admin. She just got her license. So she's actually going to run back and go help out the team. So you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. So once we're all done in here, Sue is really, I always say to go to Sue, and I don't mean that because I don't want to give you a tour, but Sue, I am actually still a little new here. I'm like less than a year. So, which is embarrassing to say because I'm like so close to being at a year at this point that it's like really not an excuse anymore. But she also just knows, she's more familiar with whose office is whose, and she can kind of give you the rundown and tell you about like, oh, this is so and so. She's much better at giving the tours because I watched her do one and then I've done one and I'm like, wow, I'm not very good at that. So I'm going to have Sue give you a tour just so that you can have like a full understanding of who's where and who you can talk to about different things. And she's just much better at it than I am. But it's okay. I'll get there one day. So Sue can take you on the tour. And then I also am going to try and jet back to my office, do a couple things, and then come back and set up the next class. So she'll be on for a little bit here. She'll come in person for you guys for a little bit. And then, like I said, Carla should be coming on closer to 10:30. I know that is when we're supposed to wrap up. She's going to give you a quick little bit about title insurance and just kind of what it is and she's a great contact to reach out to if you have any questions about it. But once she's doing that, I'm going to actually run over to my office. She's given me some folders that has her contact information, stuff like that in there for you. So I'll grab those for everybody. Sue, are you ready? Okay. All right. I'm going to take my mic off actually because nobody's online today, but that's okay. Hey, Carla, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. So if you would like, I'm going to make you a quick co-host here
Okay.
and I'm going to let you screen share for us because you are ready to go.
Awesome.
All righty. There you go. All right. You should be able to screen share now, I think. And I'll stop mine to make it easier. There we go. Beautiful. All right. And they
right.
all do have the folders in front of them as well. So you should be set.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, good,
All
good,
right.
good. I
Yeah,
was like, this is
absolutely.
the first I've moved to a different office than my house. So I was wanted to jump on a few minutes early to make sure everything worked. So good.
Yep. No, and I love that. We actually wrapped up a couple minutes early, so it's perfect. So that's awesome.
Perfect.
We've got everybody in person today. So I don't know if I should turn the computer. Do you guys want to
Yeah, so I can see.
here, let me, I'm gonna maybe just take the webcam actually. Sorry, Carla, I'm gonna make you seasick for a second.
That's fine.
Now it's on you guys. Nobody freak out. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, Carla, you ready to start?
Okay, great. Good morning, guys. Just in case, my name is Paula Campbell. I'm the agency marketing officer for Heritage Title. We are your strategic business partner for the title portion of the real estate closing. And I am here this morning to talk to you guys about what is title insurance, because we're basically starting at the beginning. I know you guys are new and there's a lot of information that's coming across to you. So I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple. And then, as Liz mentioned, there's some follow-up materials that I have that you guys can review. And they're also helpful because I will make sure Liz has electronic versions of all of those documents so that when you have your first clients, they're super helpful to email to your customers so that when they ask you what title insurance is, you can just give them these handy dandy brochures, because it's not something that is super easy to explain. And there's a basic definition that we'll go through, and that's kind of what you can use. But beyond that, the flyers are helpful. There's also a couple flyers in there about, one is the Heritage Title flyer that explains who we are. We are an agent of Investors Title Insurance Company. They are a national underwriter based in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. They've been around since the early 70s. They were family owned and they're a public company now. So they're very financially sound, which is what you always want to make sure when you're recommending, different referral sources for your customers. You want to make sure that they're really financially sound, solid companies that have a reputation, that a good reputation, so that they represent you in the transaction. And we are, like I said, we are an agency of theirs, which means they manage us. We partner with 9 Keller Williams across the state of North Carolina, including the Valentine office there. And I am based in Raleigh, and our headquarters office is in Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's about 25 minutes from my house in North Raleigh. And so I work from home because I'm always on the road visiting you guys, and hopefully I'll be in the market center in a couple weeks at one of your team meetings. So if I haven't met you already, hopefully I'll meet you there. I try to be there about once a quarter. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a realtor. I have my license in North Carolina. I hang out with the Keller Williams here in Raleigh on your North Hills. And I basically just refer to my team because I'm so busy doing the title. I don't really have time to do much else, but I do get contacted for referrals. So I, definitely like to keep my license active. I've also been in the title business for about 20 years. I worked in Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland. And I did real estate closings there as a licensed settlement agent. They're set up a little bit differently. And I'm a non-practicing attorney. I'm not licensed in North Carolina. So I have a lot of experience. So I'm always here to be a resource for you guys as well. That's why it's good to partner with people. So if you ever have title questions or title problems come up, I've been working with a couple people in your office recently. We do refinances and purchase, and we do residential and commercial. So we're available for a lot of different purposes for the title portion. One of the things that I like to explain right out front before we even get into the presentation is one of the big things that most folks don't realize, that in North Carolina, the buyer actually is the one who gets to select the title company. And most people don't realize that. So they basically just go with whoever the attorney recommends. Well, really, you guys should be recommending someone for the buyers to, several options for the buyer to choose from, because we don't want to get accused of steering. Well, we want to make sure that, just like you give them 3 lenders, 3 home inspectors, 3 termite, you want to give them a couple different options for title insurance. But we are your partner, and we hope that you guys will work with us in the future. And all that being said, there's a referral process flyer also in the folder. We have an email address on there. If you do want us to be part of the process, we just ask that when you guys go under contract, that you email us when you send the contract to the attorney. And the email address is on there. It's info@heritagetitleLLC.com. And it's a super easy process. And then we'll get into this a little bit, but there's also a prior policy search that we did that provides a discount to your customer on the new title insurance policy. So we want to make sure that you guys are doing that process and getting all the required documents signed. So we're all above board with we're a heavily regulated industry by the federal government under both the CFPB and RESPA. So we want to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. So again, there's materials in there. Definitely take a look. It's worth your while. And we'll get started real quick. So what is title insurance? Title insurance is basically a protection against defects which affect the title to your property. And when your buyers are buying, it's trying to make sure that the seller can convey good title and that they have full legal ownership of the property and are able to provide that transfer. And the document that is the deed, where the seller transfers the ownership of the property, the legal ownership, to your new buyer, your customer. Sometimes when that process is going on, the attorney's doing a title search, there are some hidden defects or mistakes found. So sometimes there's what's called an unreleased deed of trust or mortgage. And that's just one that may or may not have been paid off, but didn't get released as a lien on the property. Sometimes you also have deeds that have a spelling mistake. They may even have the address wrong for the property being purchased. And when that happens, sometimes another person can have a legal claim against the property. So we want to figure out how that works. So because of those issues that can occur, title insurance is super important. And the reason it's so important is because title insurance protects your buyer's largest investment, probably that they'll ever make. Buying a home is a significant expense. Most people own homes for a very long period of time during their lifetime. It's a way to build wealth. And we want to make sure that that investment is protected. So just like you would buy homeowners insurance to protect from fire and flood and theft, you also want to make sure that the legal ownership portion of the home is protected. And that's what title insurance does. So that if someone comes in or a company comes in and makes a claim to the property, title insurance can save your customer both time and money. So we talked a little bit about that there could be some risk that you want to make sure your customers are protected from, and the 4 basic hidden risks. Because a lot of times there's things that you can see right on the surface. Sometimes there's a survey problem. You can see that the neighbor's fence is on your customer's new property that they're buying. Those things you can see, but there's also 4 hidden risks or defects that are often found when the attorney does the title search. So we spoke a little bit about this earlier. There can be errors in the public records, such as incorrect information in the legal description in the deed or the mortgage. And sometimes just names are spelled incorrectly. And sometimes that can be the difference between finding something and not finding something when the attorney does the title search. Because if he's searching based on a name or an address and things are spelled incorrectly, it really has a big impact on whether or not, everything's able to be discovered in that search. Secondly, there are judgments, liens, and mortgages that can come up. everybody knows about judgment. So basically, if you, for example, buy a car, don't pay your bills, all of a sudden they're either going to repossess the car or put a judgment against your property to try to get it. Other things that can show up are like child support liens for unpaid child support. You could have a civil case against you, and then there's a judgment on that. And those follow not just the property, but the individual's name. So when the attorney does the title search, he searches the seller's name to make sure there's not any judgments that need to be paid off at closing, but he also runs the buyer's name. And usually if there are judgments, the credit report is also going to show those, and the lender will find those. Some other things that I mentioned a little bit before are unpaid mortgages. Sometimes there's almost always a mortgage on the property that has to be paid off. Sometimes there's multiple mortgages because sometimes people have a home equity line of credit. Sometimes there can also be another mortgage that was paid off at a refinance, but then just didn't properly legally get removed as a lien on the property. So those are all things that have to be taken care of to make sure that the seller can convey true legal transfer of the ownership of the property. There also can be things like unpaid taxes, homeowners association assessments. And I don't know if you know this, but in certain states in this country, and North Carolina is one of them, if people have unpaid HOA or condo dues, the associations behind those homeowners association and condo associations can actually foreclose against the property. And it's a very serious problem right now because a lot of people got behind in their dues because they were so busy trying to pay their mortgage that during the pandemic, and they lost jobs, that there are a lot of people who really got surprised because there was a moratorium on lenders foreclosing, but there was not a moratorium on HOAs and condo associations foreclosing. The other big lien that's out there is, we all know Monday was tax day, IRS tax lien. They are the most significant lien on a property because it takes first priority over even getting the mortgages paid. So very important that, when you guys are meeting with your sellers and buyers in the very informational stages of becoming having them become your customers, these are some of the hard things that you have to talk about, is what their finances are and what their capabilities are to pay. And then do they have any issues that you need to work out before they're really qualified to buy? Because some of these things will come back to haunt them at closing if they haven't taken care of them prior to that. So, okay, next, number 3 are claims to ownership. So this is a big one. You don't see it a lot, but when you do, it's usually a pretty significant problem. And what that means is that a prior owner or a missing heir, or a situation where the owner passed away and the heir, that there were several heirs, and the 2 of the 3 signed off, but one had been living overseas. No one knew where they were, hadn't seen them for 30 years. And then all of a sudden they find out that their favorite aunt passed away, and they show up and they never signed off, and they own a third of a property. It's a very serious problem because if the buyer did not buy title insurance, there will be a claim for a third of that property. And I don't know about you guys, but if I just bought a very expensive new house, the last thing I'd want to do is have to come out of pocket for a third of the value of the property. Yeah, you'd sue the seller, but in the meantime, you might be out some money trying to fix the title problem, especially if you don't have title insurance. The 4th thing that you sometimes see are invalid deeds. So previous sellers who really didn't own the property. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fraud out there these days. We all know it. We've all seen it. And it's not just, online. It's really people pretending to be someone they're not and selling a property out from underneath someone. So it happens, especially like if you have a property that has been rented for a long time and maybe a tenant moves out, and the owner is an out of state sort of, out of mind landowner, and they have been renting the property and they've lost this tenant and haven't had a chance to replace anybody. And someone comes in the meantime and literally sells the property out from underneath the owner. you guys would be surprised how easy sometimes these things can be to do and how crazy people are when they come up with ideas like this. The other thing that you can see is that if someone was a minor and transferred ownership of a property, if you're under 18, you're not legally allowed to own property and transfer ownership. The other thing is mental competency. You see situations where someone might be too old or may no longer be mentally competent to transfer property. You have to be very careful in family situations that the person transferring the property had the competency, the legal ability to actually do that. So those are 4 hidden defects that might not be discovered when the attorney's doing their title search. And they are things that are covered by title insurance. And so because they are things that you can't see on the surface of the title search, it's important to get title insurance just for those 4 reasons alone. So there are also some risks that are not covered by title insurance, and they're called exceptions. And there are some standard things that are basically accepted to or excluded. And those are things like government regulations such as zoning, condemnation, and limitations on the use of the property. For example, there's a lot of places where you're not allowed to run a business out of your house, only residential purposes for the property, or you can't have farm animals in your backyard if you're in a residential area that's usually within the city limits. There's certain restrictions on that. And those restrictions can be, just a few things to a long list of restrictions, depending on what limitations were originally set up when the neighborhood was created and what's recorded. So then there's also some just exceptions that you regularly see that are written into the policy that you guys, your buyers will be getting if they purchase title insurance. There are always easements on the property. So we all know that like the power company, the gas company, the phone company, your internet provider, all of those folks have to run lines on your property. And so they all have easements to use the property when they're having to fix lines, install new lines, replace lines. And then there's other kind of encumbrances on the property. Like sometimes there's like a tree protection area where you can't take any trees down in certain areas because they're trying to preserve, the greenness of the neighborhood. There's also some restrictive covenants that we sort of touched on a little bit about things, proper uses of the property. So any of that stuff that's recorded and part of the title search, those things that are their standard exceptions that you see. And it's very important that you keep those in mind. So as we've been talking about this whole time, all of this is sort of based on this title search, title exam that either an outside abstractor examiner does or that someone in-house at the attorney's office on their staff does. And it's basically the first step in obtaining title insurance. And so, as we've mentioned, it's a detailed exam of the public records. They look at deeds, civil and probate court records, judgment indexes, tax records. They look at all of that basically to determine that the seller has a right to transfer the ownership. And then they're looking for any claims, errors, assessments, mortgages, or other burdens or restrictions on the property. So as I mentioned, a title searcher or examiner, he or she does the title search. And then basically it says an abstract here, but in North Carolina, what the attorney actually does is they take that title search that the abstractor has created or researched and provided to them, and they create something called a preliminary title opinion. North Carolina is what's called a bifurcated state for closings. The attorney has someone do the search. The attorney's office creates the preliminary title opinion, and the attorney has to sign off on that. And then that document, that it's sort of like a summary of the title search, is provided to the title insurance company. So you have the attorney doing the closing portion in the search, and then you have the title company doing the reviewing the preliminary title opinion, creating the commitment, and then creating the final title policy once they also get a final title opinion from the attorney after closing. So that is when the insurance is underwritten. And if there's any problems, the attorney has to get those straightened out. In North Carolina, basically it's all on the seller to get straightened out, or you have to hire an attorney if there are title problems. It's a little bit different than most states. So after closing, if your customer has bought title insurance or has not, and there's a claim made, if they have title insurance, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to notify in writing their underwriter, which in our case is Investors Title, and include any documentation that they've received making this claim and send it to the underwriter. When they get their policy, it'll have all the contact information they need if they ever have any issues, so they'll know who to contact. And then if a claim is made, the title insurance underwriter company will look at the claim, and they'll either pay the claim against the title, because if it's really just automatic, they can see on the surface that it needs to be paid, they'll pay it. Sometimes there's some negotiation that needs to be done to figure out the amounts and that kind of thing, or what they're actually going to do. They will also pay for an attorney and defend the case in court to protect the title if that's what they think is the best course of option. And then depending on what happens with the other three options, then they'll also pay, like I said, pay the legal costs incurred in defending the title. So as you can imagine, paying an attorney is very expensive for a case like this. Probably you're talking about, $200 an hour, and title insurance in North Carolina is very inexpensive. We're one of the 10 cheapest states in the country for title insurance. And for a house under $500,000, it's less than $1,400. And very important, title insurance costs very little. It's a one-time premium. It's not like homeowners insurance that you pay every single day. It is a one-time premium that lasts as long as you own the property. And it is, it's good for that. And whether they live there 5 years or 50 years, it's good for that entire time. And it's great because it's just this one-time fee. So again, title insurance provides long-term coverage against many serious title defects, and you get all that protection for a one low-time charge. So definitely worth considering for your customers. You want to be in the business of making sure your customers are protected. And one of the other ways that you can do that is also making sure that they get a survey. This presentation doesn't touch on that. I do another presentation on surveys, but there is a flyer in the folder there about why you need a survey as part of the title insurance, because a big portion of the title insurance coverage covers survey issues. Remember the fence I brought up at the very beginning? Sometimes you have little issues like that. Sometimes you have major issues where, like, the neighbor has built half their pool on your property and you go to sell it and you didn't realize, because maybe you have 2 acres and you have a lot of space and they have 2 acres and no one really realized where the line was, or the pump house is on your property. And all of a sudden you're trying to sell, and the buyer gets a survey, and all of a sudden this pump house for this brand new pool that they just built a year ago is on your property and not theirs. So things like that come up. It's crazy. You just never know, because sometimes things aren't surveyed properly when work is done. So very important that, you recommend title insurance and surveys to your customers so that they're protected from these problems that can arise. And that, you guys are doing your utmost to make sure that you're educated on the things that they need for closing. So that is the end of my formal presentation, but I just wanted to double check to see, do any of you guys have any quick questions? And I'm happy to take any questions.
Carla, is that right? Carla, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was just questioning with title insurance. Let's say I'm the customer and I'm interested in buying a foreclosure or a home government owned that's up for auction, can I possibly bypass an attorney and go straight to a title search before getting too invested where I need an attorney?
So you can have an attorney do the title search, like a pre-search, before you put it under contract. depending on what kind of time the attorney has and how soon the auction is, just to see if there are any problems. I highly recommend those anytime you have a potential that it's a bankruptcy, or if it's been a foreclosure, or if you know there's an estate case. We used to do pre-searches all the time. In North Carolina, they're not as usual, but you do have to have an attorney do the search, or you have to hire a title abstractor or examiner. In the bigger cities like Charlotte and Raleigh, there are some of those third-party abstractors out there that you can hire to do the search, but the only person who can really certify it and review it is the attorney. So if you don't have experience reading title searches, I don't recommend you trying to do it yourself. But the search fee is very inexpensive, like $100. So
I guess I'm thinking with the title search, what if there's a bunch of liens of sorts? Can the attorney actually pick that up, or is that something that title insurance would be able to pick up more so?
Okay, so the way North Carolina works is that the search is done, it identifies any title problems, and then like liens, and then the way North Carolina works is, and you have to hire an attorney to, if you're the seller, to get rid of those liens. If it's a foreclosure situation and the bank owns it, it gets pretty complicated because they pretty much have to take care of any title problems, because they have to be able to transfer good title as well. But it's very dicey, because I have one right now with a customer in Winston-Salem where the foreclosure attorney did not clean the title. And there are all sorts of liens left, so that didn't get cleaned up. And the title insurance doesn't clean up the problems until you're the owner. Does that make sense? If you don't own it, the seller, if it's a foreclosure, the seller's now the bank. The previous owner's out of the picture, so their title insurance wouldn't come into play.
Are they title insurance at the end then? So is the title insurance needing to be purchased at the closing?
At the closing.
At closing. Okay. Okay.
Yes. And it's incorporated into whatever the fees are. It's always on the good faith estimate, or if it's not, you want to make sure that it is. And you want to make sure, the one thing I didn't mention, and I thought it was in here and I may have skipped over it, is in North Carolina, as in most states, there's an owner's coverage which protects the owner. And there's a lender's coverage that's required by the lender, and the lender makes the buyer pay for it. And in North Carolina, if you buy the lenders, the owner's policy basically costs you almost nothing. It's like basically only 10% of the total cost. So there's absolutely no reason to ever not get owner's coverage if you're buying a lender's policy. And if you're buying a new house that's new construction, don't ever have a customer tell you they don't need title insurance, because you got to think about Farmer Brown, who owned that 100 acres that's now sold to the neighborhood with the 1,000 houses. How many heirs did he have, and what didn't get taken care of, and what kind of potential problems could there have been? So you always buy title insurance, and you always make sure your owner gets coverage, not just get coverage for the lender.
Thank you.
Give me a call sometime if you want to talk about that in more detail, because that's a more complicated question that you asked me. Happy to talk about it.
I think everyone's good on questions now.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carla.
You're welcome. And Liz, if you don't have those documents, the PDFs, let me know and I'll resend them.
Okay. I should be able to search for them, but I'll shoot you an email if I can't find them.
Sounds good.
Thank
You guys
you.
have an amazing day. Thank
You too.
All right,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.